in line with the state government resettlement plan. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has expressed optimism that whatever the situation and condition is, all will be well with Nigeria. The former president, who said these are the global crusade organized by the Deeper Life Bible Church in Abeokuta on Tuesday, urged Nigerians to have faith in God. He said that considering the situation of things, Nigeria and the entire world require God's visitation, urging all Christians and children of God to seek his face for visitation. The General Overseer of the Church, Pastor William Kumuyi, who had earlier paid a visit to the former president, prayed God to grant him many more years to contribute to the progress of the country. Some stakeholders in Edo State have insisted that security architecture of the nation must be community-driven if the country must get out of the security challenges it is currently faced with. This was the outcome of a one-day security summit organized by Edo Security Network, a body inaugurated by the state government to help drive security at the grassroots level.
Edo State Security Network. Their importance is felt in all communities across, not just of Biafra constituency, across Edo State. This is what we are clamoring for to decentralize the policing to various states, and the governor has graciously, further decentralized it to the local level. So community policing is very key. You can attest that to the fact that a lot of crime has been reduced drastically.
The people here, the states, should be responsible to take the lead in caring for those perpetrators, which are the vigilante. The vigilante at the school, they are the ones carrying out the responsibility of the community policing at the state.
Security, as important as it is, must be community driven. Because the truth is that when we say community policing, vigilante should be community driven. I'm sure when everybody, all and sundry support, the vigilante will be more agile, they'll be more efficient, they'll be more effective.
I beg the Edo State government, not only the Edo State government, anybody can support the Edo Security Network. Please let them do. So that we have to encourage them, because they really suffered for us. They don't sleep while we are asleep.
President Muhammadu Buhari has met behind closed doors with the former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu at the presidential Villa Abuja. The president's personal photographer, Mr. Sunday Agaize, confirmed this in a pictorial report on Tuesday night in Abuja. The agenda of the meeting between the president and the national leader of the All Progressive Congress, APC, could not be as certain as at the time of filing the report. Bola Tinubu on Friday picked the ruling All Progressive Congress presidential nomination and expression of interest form at its national secretariat in Abuja. James Falike, a member of the House of Representatives representing Ikeja Federal Constituency, picked the form for the APC national leader, who had since informed the president of his presidential ambition in 2023. Southwest leaders in the All Progressive Congress, APC, have scheduled a meeting with presidential aspirant from the zone. The party's founding chairman, Chief Bisi Akonde, and former Ogun State Governor, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, and other stakeholders are the conveners of the party of the Pali Build for Lagos State Government in the Marina on Friday. Expected to attend are the APC national leader, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi, and Senator Amoshu. The invitees have all declared interest to contest for president. As all political parties in the country prepare for the upcoming 2023 general elections, a group known as the Concerned Nigerian Citizens have called for a power shift to the South in the spirit of equity, justice, and fairness. The group, through its convener, Femi, said these are the World Press Conference in Abuja. Our reporter has more on this.
Osabinu said that the briefing became imperative due to various agitations among southern ethnic nationalities insisting that the presidency this time must move down south and the intrigues by some political actors to jettison the zoning arrangement must end. He said there is an unwritten conventional way for power to rotate between the north and the south since the return of civil rule in 1999.
Presidential election in Nigeria is highly influential and powerful as we all confer greater sense of belonging to the federation on any ethnic or geopolitical zone that produces the president. This, no doubt, has deepened the agitation for power shift by various regions, and with us, resolved to implore all major political parties to have a deep think ahead of national conventions, ensure that power rotates to the south, as this will ensure that the country remains united.
Shedding more light on the agitation, other members of the group are of the opinion that power rotation will ensure equity, justice, and fairness in the nation's democracy. They also say it is sacrosanct if the nation is to attain unity, peace, and progress in all forms.
President Muhammadu Buhari, by the grace of God, will be president of Nigeria till May 29, 2023. I haven't served 8 years as president from the northern part of the country. In essence, it means that the next president of Nigeria, by the virtue of that convention, the principles of federal character as enshrined in our constitution, and by the virtue of the foundation of our democracy, the South must produce the next president of Nigeria.
If you look at it, it is proper that once one part of the country, which have been divided into two poles, the north and south pole, once one has had, it is proper that the other should have.
The group called on all the political parties in the country to respect zoning and that now is the time to do just that.
Members of the Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have accused the National Working Committee of an alleged subversion of the results of the Ward Ad Hoc Delegate Congress held across 20 local government areas of the state. The members in their numbers stormed the party's secretariat in the state capital to register their displeasure over the development, which they said was taken to favor an influential member of the party in the state. Armed with placards with various inscriptions, members appealed to the national body of the party to do the needful in order to ensure justice, equity, and fairness, and to reposition the party for victory in the next general elections.
On Saturday, elections were held around 20 local governments in Ogun State, but the National Working Committee from Abuja accepted the result of the local government whose chairmen are loyal to Ladipo Kwadebutu and disregard the remaining. That is the main point. Where the leadership of a party is unfair and unjust, it is very, very dangerous for the party. In any case, the National Working Committee are trying to disregard the result of the Congress duly monitored by INEC. And they are trying to falsely announce the result of a small group of people who in any case, did not hold any Congress. If they hold a Congress, let them provide the video evidence. But there is a group who held the Congress, monitored by INEC, DSS, the police, and the civil defense. There is pictorial and video evidences for this. But there is another group who never held any Congress. And the National Working Committee is now trying to disregard the result of the well-monitored Congress and announce falsely the result of the other group who never had any evidence that elections were held.
Governor Samuel Otom has challenged youth in the state to equip themselves with requisite knowledge on security and governance to be able to effectively handle leadership responsibility in the future. Our correspondent, Makadi Francis Ter, filed this report presented from our studio.
The governor, who was represented by an administrative officer in the Office of the Special Advisor on Security, Taena Chiapin, said it was time for youth to be adequately educated on security matters to enable them to respond to such issues when the need arises.
It is really time to enlighten our youth on issues of security and also on issues of youth development. youth development is something that must be done. I say must be done. Yes. Because you are leaders of tomorrow.
Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development, Barrister Taima Ngoa, represented by the Director of Youth Development, Michael Omanga, said the program provides an opportunity for youth to brainstorm and make contributions to national development.
Briefly, the Nigerian Youth Parliament is a program of the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development in cooperation with the National Assembly, established to equip the young people with leadership and legislative skills, as well as to participate in decision making.
In his remarks, Speaker of the State House of Assembly and PDP consensus candidate, Honorable Titus Uba, represented by the Speaker, Benue State Youth Parliament, Rachel Tiona, disclosed that the House of Assembly has taken steps in the interest of youth in the state.
I want to say well done and kudos on organizing this town hall meeting and inviting us to deliberate. And this gives us a sense of belonging that, okay, our leaders want to listen to us, want to see what we have to bring to the table, and are ready to act on on our recommendations. So I want to also appreciate the office of the Speaker, House of Representatives, and also the office of the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mr. Sunday Barry.
Various speakers at the town hall meeting also advised the youth to avoid being over-dependent on the government and to use their talent and values to better their lives.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has said that the ongoing investigation of suspected drug baron name withheld has led to the discovery of more than 22 billion naira worth of tramadol. A statement by the NDLEA Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, in Abuja states that the investigation led to how the suspect imported into Nigeria 2 containers containing 1,284 cartons of tramadol in October 2019 with a market value of over 22 billion naira. He said that the statement was to counter insinuations by some hirelings, but that the NDLEA had no evidence to pin a crime on suspect, widely believed to be the chairman of a group of firms. The prices of food and other commodities keep skyrocketing daily, touching on the cost of living in Nigeria. Let's take a listen.
You affect seriously, we can't even explain, because in my place of work, the place I would normally pay 500, go and come back. That was 2014, 2015. Now I pay 1,200.
We just have to keep on going with it now. We just hope it gets better. So how we are coping is work harder, and that's just what we can do.
I'm into food business, so I know it's affecting a lot. Particularly trying to get customers, when you give them prices of stuffs that we do, they complain that it's too expensive. But due to the constant increase in sales, in pricing, it's really affecting the business. For example, a bag of flour last year was going for about 10,000, but now it's going for like 22,000, 23,000, depending on where you get it.
When you look at the rate at which prices of commodities are going up, is very, very high. In fact, average Nigerians are finding it very difficult to cope. And we want government to do something as soon as possible before things get out of hand.
When I was coming now, I had a small issue with my car, and I had to get, I think the person that wanted to help me fix it said I should get, what's it called? Jowl, ordinary jowl. Then we used to get it for like 1, 2 or thereabout. But when I bought now, it's 2.5. Now. You get, so everything, food, rent, everything.
That affected my daughter. Like my daughter like berries a lot. And berries that I used to buy for 1,000, now it's 3,000. I can't afford to always buy berries for her. So it's affected in every, I don't even know what to say about it.
And to other parts of Africa, Defense Minister Christian Lambrecht says Germany will end its participation in the European Union training mission in Mali and is ready to continue with the UN peacekeeping mission in the country under certain condition. Lambrecht said this after a cabinet meeting in Maasberg. She is expecting the UN to create a condition for them to continue involvement in MINUSMA. Al-Shabaab jihadists armed with guns and explosives stormed African Union base in Somali on Tuesday, causing a fierce firefighting that killed Burundian peacekeepers. A high-ranking Burundian military officer said about 30 soldiers were killed and another 22 wounded, while a dozen were missing. It was the first such attack on the peacekeeping base since the AU transition mission in Somali replaced the previous peacekeeping force in April the 1st. Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility of the attack, saying it had taken control of the camp and claimed to have killed 173 soldiers. Somali's government have condemned the attack targeting the ATMIS and appealed to the international community to do more to support Somali forces at the ATMIS effectively combating terrorism. And outside Africa, South Korea's Joint Force of Staff says the North has fired a ballistic missile towards the sea of its east coast. This was about a week after Pyongyang vowed to develop its nuclear forces at the fastest possible speed. The launch, which marks the North's 14th unknown weapon test this year, comes days before South Korea's newly elected president, Yoon Suk-yeol, takes office on May the 10th. It's the last test on the April the 16th and involved a new technical guided weapon aimed at boosting the country's nuclear capabilities. Now, more than 156 evacuees from the ruins of Mariupol, Azovstal steel works reached the Ukrainian-controlled city of Zaporozhye on Tuesday after covering in underground bunkers from Russian shillings for weeks. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said in his address to the nation. Zelensky accused Russia of breaching agreement to pause fight long enough to allow vulnerable civilians to be moved to safety. Nearly 10 weeks into a war that has killed thousands, destroyed cities, and driven 5 million Ukrainians to flee abroad, Russian President Vladimir Putin raised the economic stake for Kyiv's western borders on Tuesday by announcing plans to block the export of vital Russian raw materials. And in business news, the European Union's chief executive has proposed a phased oil embargo on Russia over its war in Ukraine, as well as sanctioning Russia's top banks and banning its broadcasters from European airwaves. This is all in a bid to deepen Moscow's isolation. The plan, if agreed by the EU government, would mark a water wash for the world's largest trade bloc, which is dependent on Russian energy and must find alternative supplies. But Russia's invasion of Ukraine by land, sea and air on February the 24th, the renewed Russian offensive in eastern Ukraine and horrific image of slaughter in Ukrainian towns have overcome reluctancy to deliver the toughest sanctions so far.
Today, we are presenting our sixth package of sanctions. First, we are listing high-ranking military officers and individuals who committed war crimes in Bucha, and those who are responsible for the inhuman siege of the city of Mariupol. This sends another important signal to all perpetrators of the Kremlin. We know who you are. We will hold you accountable. You're not getting away with this. Second, we finally de-SWIFT Sberbank. Sberbank is the largest Russian bank. It holds round about 37% of the whole banking sector. And we will also de-SWIFT two other major banks in Russia. By that, we hit banks that are systemically critical to the Russian financial system and Putin's ability to wage destruction. We're banning 3 big Russian state-owned broadcasters from our airwaves. They will not be allowed to distribute their content anymore in the European Union in whatever shape or form, be it on cable, via satellite, on the internet, or via smartphone apps. We have identified these TV channels as mouthpieces that amplify Putin's lies and propaganda aggressively.
And in sports news, Liverpool survived the first half scare to reach the Champions League final with a 3-2 win, as Liverpool survived the first half scare to reach the Champions League final with a 3-2 win at Villarreal on Tuesday that secured a 5-2 aggregate victory after the night had threatened to turn sour for Jurgen Klopp's side. The visitors fell 2-0 down with an insipid first half performance before fighting back with 3 goals in a 12-minute spell after the break to advance to their 3rd European Cup finals in 5 seasons. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp said reaching the Paris final felt as the first one, as they had a tough tie against Villarreal. Villarreal manager was proud of his team and fans, but said effort was not enough against his favourite of Liverpool.
Before the game, I told the boy I would like to have to read the headlines, which is that the mentality monsters were in town, just because I wanted us to be from the first moment, not that somebody who defends the result but goes for the 3 points or for the win. Couldn't see that, but the second half was like this, and I'm not 100% sure, but I asked what is in Spanish, and I think it's mentalitare monstruosos, something like that. Sorry. But maybe somebody can figure it out. So for me, it was like this because it was, you could see how impressed we were in the first half, and then coming back like we came back in the second half is really special.
Yeah, unbelievable. Incredibly tough tie. Never easy. But you know, to be in a final is never ever easy in whatever competition you're in, and to make this, you know, the 3rd in a space of 5 years is incredible from this group of boys. And you know, as players and fans and everyone alike should, you know, never ever take this for granted.
Bournemouth have earned promotion to Premier League with a 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest in the 2nd tier of Championship on Tuesday, swinging up 2nd place with a game to spare. Bournemouth, together with the Champions title winner Fulham, secured automatic promotion and will return to the Premier League after 2 years, while Forest will go into the playoff of the final spot. Striker Kiefer Moore broke the deadlock in the 83rd minute, slight footing powerfully home after Philip Billing found him with a clever free kick, having shape to shoot. Forest striker Sam Surridge found space in the 9th minute after a brilliant long-range cross from the defender Spencer, but he smashed his finish against the crossbar. Jaylen Brown found his form to help the Boston Celtics beat the Milwaukee Bucks 109-86 and tie the Eastern Conference semifinal series at 1 piece. Brown shot 4 of 13 in Game 1, but was 25 points up the halfway stage in the game. After going 9 for 10, he finished the night on 30th along with 5 rebounds and 6 assists. Giannis Antetokounmpo managed 28 for the Bucks as the reigning champions tried their best to get back into the game after the interval, but the Celtics held on.
Both the Williams are on the floor for Boston. Grant and Brown with a block on Holiday.
Well, his Boston defense initially has been outstanding.
Brown, yes!
If he wants to pressure, you need to go right by him.
Brown with Allen on him. Allen hits the deck. Brown chicken. And Brown knocks down the mid-range. Oh. He is cooking.
So right now the shooting's been great, but they need to continue to attack and play inside out.
Oh, goodness. Just a... And now Giannis losing the handle. Tatum with the steal. Tatum going up top. Throw it down. Brown has not shot it well in the second half. Gives it right back. Tatum is open. Three-pointer. For the shoot. Pritchard, three-pointer. No. Long rebound to Brown. He spins, and Brown with the left hand.
Steph Curry make a living of it in the NBA.
There's Grant Williams, and he hits another one. Oh, what a night for Williams.
And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Bopo. There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Sale, and we have a very, very full house today. Happy to be inviting Milola back, Honorable. Honorable is back on the seat, beside the Honorable, amid the political drama happening. But we thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Honorably. We're happy to have you back. And we have Jenny, baby. We missed you. How is Abuja? So I told Jennifer she cannot come back without...
No, we have to have you back.
No, you don't even get... She cannot return to Lagos without links to the senatorial seats. It's not possible. It's either by marriage or by...
That's the mandate.
I hope you can.
You
all
take
hear
a
her.
cue. You take a cue. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm fine.
How was South Africa? How's Abuja?
South Africa was fine, but it was very annoying because it was raining all through and it was so cold. So
Wow.
worst time to have actually traveled.
Wow.
But Abuja has been good.
Abuja is hot.
I'm happy. There's no traffic. Yes, it's very hot.
Unlike Lagos.
Very, very hot. Very hot. But we're surviving. We thank God.
You look pretty.
Thank you.
I miss you.
You do miss me.
No, nah.
Milola Tiwa.
Honorable, how have you been though?
I'm good.
I've been watching your page, Omo. I do not envy you,
I
honestly.
do not envy myself.
Honestly, it's been a tough move. Even me watching it, like I feel the stress, and it's really telling. But how is it going though?
I wouldn't lie, it's not been easy. It's been tough. It's a lot of emotion, but I'm keeping on together. When you know that it's too late to turn back, what do? You just keep it going.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what it is.
Absolutely. How are you, Norma? How are you? How was your day?
It was good. It was very peaceful.
You look peaceful. You look chill.
Eid Mubarak.
Yeah, it's not so
in the spirit of Eid, anytime you see me glamorously dressed, you know that Honorable is around.
Is around.
Online.
Thank you. I love my dress. It's really pretty. All right, so today we're discussing something very interesting, and that's why we have our Honorable with us. You know how forms are being sold to different candidates that are aspiring to take on political positions, and it seems like, when it comes to women and the youth, there's a bit of disparity, or they'll say maybe they're favoring them. I put the quote, So how they sell forms, for women at a completely different price, discounted price compared to their male counterparts. So the question we're asking today, is this a plus for women, or it's going to really, mar their political relevance, right? That's the conversation. And here's what we found as today's quote. There's need to be a fundamental, or rather there needs to be a fundamental shift in the way societies view women in government. One that does not see them as mere seat fillers or stats on a chart. They must be viewed as a vital contributing factor to the betterment of the world. I think there was no better quote than capturing this conversation.
Quite
yes.
apt.
We're not seat fillers. We're not just there to just fill up a quota. We're actually going to be decision makers. We're going to be transformers, in any government as women.
In the real sense
yes,
of it.
So that's the conversation. So according to Premium Times, the All Progressive Congress, APC, at a meeting of its National Executive Committee announced the fee for its expression of interest and nomination form for the 2023 general elections last month. Now, the fees include $100 million for presidential aspirants, made up of $30 million for expression of interest and $70 million for the actual nomination form. So the party also fixed $50 million for governorship aspirants, $20 million and $10 million for senatorial and House of Representative aspirants respectively, and $2 million for State House of Assembly aspirants. So, however, aspirants under 40 years will get a 50% discount on the fees, while women and persons living with disability will only pay for expression of interest form. So it's our ladies' night out. Jennifer, Norma, and Honorable Milola and I will be discussing form cost reduction. Is it a plus or a plot to weaken women's political relevance? That's the conversation. And when we open our phone lines, we'd really love to hear what you have to say. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. All right, you're still watching Ways. The United Nations General Assembly declared May 3rd to be World Press Freedom Day, or just World Press Day, observed to raise awareness of the importance of freedom of press and remind governments of their duty to respect and uphold the rights to freedom of expression as shrined under the Article 19 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights and marking the anniversary of the Windhoek Declaration, a statement of free press principle put together by African newspaper journalists in Windhoek in 1991. Every year, World Press Freedom Index was published by Reporters Without Borders. Since 2002, based upon the organization's own assessment of the country's press freedom records in the previous year, it intends to reflect the degree of freedom that journalists, news organizations, and citizens have in each country and the effort made by authorities to respect this freedom. So, world freedom, I think we've done better. We're way better over the years, yeah, from where we're coming from. And it cuts across all parts of the world, but some parts of the world, they still have a lot of press restrictions where you cannot express freely and all of that. But I think we're getting better at allowing people to express.
So social
freely,
media has allowed a lot of freedom of expression and a lot of abuse of freedom of expression. So I believe we're quite there.
All right, so let's quickly run through our stories. Let me start with you, Jennifer. What did you find for us in the news?
The Kaduna Monarch suspends 4 district heads over misconduct. So the Emir of Zazzau has suspended 4 district heads for allegedly using local talks. So there is a rule that when there is any event or any occasion, you're not supposed to hire local talks to come with you or to be around you or be at that event, especially when they are holding weapons. So when that happened, he just immediately suspended all 4 of them. It was immediate effect.
Awesome.
Was that some form of security or a form of, I don't know,
breach?
why would they have that with them in the first place? Do they use them as security or do they use them to intimidate other people?
Funny enough, I have no idea, but this particular occasion was just the celebration we just did.
Eid?
Yeah, the Eid.
Okay.
So
why
would
really
you
would you need
local
talks
talks
around
yeah,
here?
especially with weapons. So it could have been guns, it could have been knives or cutlasses or anything like that.
I remember one year when we traveled, I think it was Jos. They had just finished, it was this exact Salah because it was after the Ramadan season, and we were on our way to the airport from Jos, heading to, I think we had to do a road trip to Abuja because there was no flight or something. I can't remember.
I remember that trip.
You must have seen the big knives they were bringing out from their kaftans, almost. And this was just like gyration, celebration, and all of that. It was not really like it was a fight or something. But just imagine if there was a provocation in the heat of that, because there were a lot of them in those big lorry, the back of the lorries, right? And there were a lot. They were walking, across and all of that. At some point, I had to cover myself because I'm a woman and all of that. I had to hide myself, But I was so scared that day because the kinds of knife that I saw somebody bringing out from his, those long daggers. And the sickle one, the one that wasn't funny.
And once they start, there's no stopping.
There's no stopping. Yes. So I think it's a good move for him too, because you can't really control sometimes. Yeah. Norma, your story.
All right, mine is still in Kaduna, coincidentally.
Okay.
Can't dissociate self from Kaduna pastor that is offering 310,000 heaven ticket. Now, I don't know if some of us heard about the pastor that was buzzing in the news last week or thereabouts, but the story goes that the Christian Association of Nigeria in Kaduna State has distanced itself from one pastor. When they add one, that means you're on your own. One pastor, Ade Abraham, offering to take his members to heaven if they pay a ticket fee of 310,000. The video went viral, of course, on social media, and he was said to have his operational base in Kaduna and later moved the camp to Ado-Ekiti, where he's presently staying with his members, preparing them for heaven. So the state's CAN chairman, Reverend John Yahab, in a statement in Kaduna State, denied neither knowing the said pastor nor the location, as well as the name of the church in any part of the 23 local government areas of the state.
So he's a fraud.
And then according to him, that he's just a faceless character who can easily give the faith of the community a bad name, especially as a body of Christians in the state cannot even trace his whereabouts or information about him. I found this really interesting because this made the rounds, and people went as far as calling their family members who were abroad to tell them to come back so that they could make heaven with them.
Wow.
If not, that the said pastor was going to make them, that they were going to be deported. Somehow he would be angry and he will find a way to bring them back. It's really troubling how people can be hypnotized and brainwashed into believing things like this in 2022.
I mean, are they going to die before they make heaven?
Are they going to? I mean, there were quite a number of people.
There were a lot
of people who have paid and who had camped in Ekiti
They're tired
in
of being
most
on
deplorable situations and circumstances just because they wanted to make heaven. But Khan has dissociated. So anybody who is associating with this pastor, well, beware.
Nigeria is tiring. It begs the question as to why people really want to check out.
No, but it tells you the state of the mind of people generally.
It's
the level of poverty is making people to think.
This is a branch of the bigger problem.
Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The branch of a big.
There's
So it just shows
huge
you
problem.
I feel like religion has Africans or Nigeria in a chokehold. It's literally holding people by the neck. And people have refused to learn
think
for themselves.
or reason it out.
It's unfortunate.
You know, let's go to you.
Poverty does a lot for us. And that goes for my story as well, which talks about a 30-year-old widow arrested for selling her drugs in Kano. And this was not the first time she was apprehended. And it was said that the lady was identified by the name Jamila Abdullahi. She's been arrested by the police in Kano for allegedly dealing illicit drugs. It was gathered that the suspect was arrested alongside some man on Saturday, 30th of April, with 35 tubes of rubber solution. And according to the commander spokesperson, the superintendent of police, says this comes after a month after she's been arrested and released and signing an undertaking not to involve in such an illicit act. Evidently, she has gone back into the act and she's been rearrested for dealing and selling drugs. She's a widow, for one. She's a 30-year-old young lady, for another. And she's the second time she's been arrested. And it makes me wonder, how hardened have people become? Because for you to have been arrested once, it means you were really given a second chance to turn a new leaf. And she went ahead and did it again.
So you know that
it's really disturbing to see that young
Yeah.
people are under such pressure. I mean, even if she's a widow, does she have to do drugs in order to
So
survive?
I was going to say that you remember that documentary? I think it was the BBC that did that. That exposed the the state of drug usage in Kano. Remember? I think that video.
Yes, yes.
So you would, first of all, I think that because the business might be very lucrative, that's why she feels like, you know what, this one is quick money. Drug money is quite
quite good money.
Yes, it's because it's quite, you can easily get, you know,
Quick
cash in
returns.
very
Yeah.
quickly. Yes,
There are a
you
lot of
understand?
people hooked on drugs,
Yes,
so they're
very
willing
good.
to
So
buy.
they're willing to buy. So the market is there for it. So yeah, I like the fact that they are giving her. Well, rather than do that, why don't we kill the market, right? Let's also stop focusing on these are just. If there is nobody to buy drugs, nobody is going to sell it. So
But trust
there's a
me,
big
we will always have vices in our society.
Of course, there's a bigger problem, which I tell that there's a drug problem in the north. Big drug,
It's
just like
really
the way,
huge.
yes, just like the way we have the Miri or whatever
Yes.
in the east. We have a
Ice.
huge problem with drug use and abuse in the north as well. So there's a bigger problem, and I hope that they'll be able to fish out
Look
because she's
beyond the
just
fruits and see the root cause
Yeah,
of these vices.
So my story is actually on a very sad note, very, very sad note. I listened to the voice note. I almost was in tears. I think it was finally I had the courage to listen to it this afternoon, where a couple, a military couple, they were on their way for their traditional marriage, and they were apprehended by unknown right? Unknown. They say yet to be identified assailants. What you call, when you listen to the audio, the guy was saying, have you heard of unknown gunmen and all of that? So the couple were going, they were on their way for the traditional marriage, and according to the source, they said the young woman was first of all raped and was then shot alongside with her fiance. Both of them, they were getting married, and later the duo, they were later beheaded. This is very sad. This is very sad. It just begs, I mean, it just reminds me of the conversation that we had with Dele Farotimi yesterday when he was talking about if you can comfortably live within 50 kilometers of the current city that you're in, without the fear of being kidnapped or, or being robbed or raped or whatever, or being
murdered.
used or murdered,
Yeah.
So everybody has that fear. You really can't do road trips anymore. There were times, there used to be times where you could actually go on road trips at night because it was a peaceful.
It was better time to move.
A smoother drive and all of that. But now it's really, for the longest of almost a month now, my mother has been struggling to go back to base because it was she left Kaduna the day. It was the very next day that the attack at the airport happened. The big issue we have in this country is so deep that we have to start focusing on, and that was a conversation we had yesterday. Don't just put your eyes on presidency, right? The person that will represent your constituency is very important. The person that will represent you down to the local government is very important. As a councillor, those people are the people that will drive good governance, drive all these things that we're talking about, security. So we can't just wake up and just think that we can just fold our arms and do nothing and just focus on one messiah that will come in the person of the president or a governor. It's not going to work anymore. We need to be very, very clear on who we want to vote.
Well, touching on that part of the councillors and the local government chairman, if you're in governance or in government, you'd understand why they're almost absent.
So I think we'll hold on to that. When we come back from the break, we're going to be discussing this form reduction, right, of women and all of that. We're going to be discussing that as our conversation for the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Referencing a publication titled Political Financing for Women, Money is Essential for the Operations of Political Parties and particularly affects candidates in the electoral process or the processes. Now, political financing regulations can affect women's access to run as candidates, be elected, campaign, and reach out to the population. Regulations on political funding are used to level the playing field in electoral competition. They can also work to ensure that women are able to compete on a more equal footing with men. Now, this in turn may result in women's increased political participation Or is there an underlying motive behind these women that are underrepresented, not only in the political sphere, but also in decision making within the private sector, at the village level, at the civil society level? At the local level, men usually dominate positions of power, including as religious and traditional rulers, local politicians, and village elders. Now, the 2023 elections is fast approaching, and we are asking, this form cost reduction for women that they have done, is it a strategy at weakening the political relevance of women, or it is actually a good thing, or is a plus for them? This is the question for tonight. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. You can also tweet at us at WaysHowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow. So this conversation has been brewing for a while now, you know, and we had to drag in our honorable. Maybe she would help us to tell us the experience, right? So at face value, when you hear that, oh, women and the disabled, because they categorize us together. So many say we don't disable with that. Women and disabled, you know, would pay, you know, only expression of interest form.
Expression of interest fee.
Yes, expression of interest fee, rather, for a position that she is going to be in competition with another person that would pay not just the expression of interest, he will also pay the nomination forms. So at face value, you go, whoa, yeah, they're trying to push and support women and make it like truly, we want to fill up that 35% quota. I think that's what we have for women and all of that. But when you now sit down, you know, come out of that picture and look at it holistically. Is this really,
is it a plus or minus?
Yes, a good thing for a woman? Because does it not further cement that patriarchal mindset that feels like a man is more superior, that feels like, oh, women are to be, you know, seen in a certain light when it comes to that they are not as strong politically as so they need to also be treated like eggs and all of that? Is that not like more? But let me hear. Honorable, then I'll come to you, ladies.
No, you're starting with me.
I wanted to start with you, or should I start with Jennifer?
I would like to hear.
Okay, Jennifer, let me hear your thoughts. We've not heard you in a long time.
I think first of all, I would like to state that fee is ridiculous. Because if you're asking a candidate to pay 100 million, 50 million, just to apply for a seat, where do you expect them to get the money from? It just begs the question. Like, we know what these people do. We know how some of them make their money. But when you're asking for 100 million naira, that's ridiculous. And then I've seen people who are trying to rally other people around. Okay, donate here, do this, do that. And I'm like, you want them to commit fraud? Because that's the next thing, and that's how they're going to get their money. But maybe they have big daddies and uncles that are backing them. But then when we bring it down to women, I mean, like you said, at face value, it seems like, oh, this is a good thing. They are including women. I mean, we've all been talking about inclusivity for a very long time, and women want to be part of the change that we're making in our country. We want to set an example. We want people to know that we have a voice. We can also do better. We can play on that field with the men. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, like, I mean, it was the way it was categorized.
Women are disabled.
It doesn't sound nice. It doesn't sound nice. But I mean, I'm not into politics, and I feel like the women who are into politics will be the ones to tell us where the shoe is actually pinching them. Do you understand? Because, I mean, the money, like I said, is a lot.
It's a lot.
See, it's a lot.
Honestly, it's a big relief.
It's a lot of money.
So for a form that I was supposed to probably pay like 10 million, they're asking me to just bring only 1 million.
Yeah.
It's a huge relief on me. But I'm just thinking, if somebody that says, it's just like, I don't know how to explain it. Family meetings. I mean, the Igbos, you will know now. When you're doing family meeting, it is the person that contributes big. Now you give the floor.
Yeah, that's the person they give the respect
to. We all know that Nigerians, there is something with money, and you know. So because you have dropped a huge thank you that is attached to that. So does that not weaken the respect that a woman will get because somebody will say, shut up there, after all, not only 1 million naira you pay?
I actually think there's going to, it's going to bring a ripple effect at the end of the day. Because when men and women are sitting on the table, you realize that it is still the men that are calling the shots. They are still the ones that have the final say. They'll still be the ones to make all the decision, and all the women need to do is... So even, you just nod. And even when you disagree, it's a problem. Why? Because I brought in way more money than you did. So if there's a circle,
what's your stake?
if there's a circle and the man is bringing what 90% and you're bringing 10%, please, what exactly are you bringing to the table? I mean, it seems juicy because, I mean, you pay 100, I pay 2 million. I can afford it. Do you understand? But I mean, I think this is something we would have to watch and see
how it plays out.
Yeah, knowing our Nigerian men. Sorry. It's a very dicey and very difficult one for me to say that the motive is clean. Yeah, or you're coming from a very genuine place.
Thank you. Not my finger.
Oh, wow. I totally agree with Jennifer because, like you said, at face value, it looks like a good place to start. And I would say it's a good place. At least we've started, right? But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there because like Jennifer had mentioned, women need a voice. Women need to be heard. And if it comes from the place where the impression is that you are doing women a favor and you are tagging them along no disrespect to people who are in fact, just the capping is very unsettling for me because someone who is also disabled, someone who is a woman, does not stop their disability or the fact that they are women does not change what they can offer, what their capacity or competence is all about. Disability does not in any way impede anybody being able to perform. So when you cap it like that, then like Jennifer said, it will be seen from a place that is not genuine, right? I'm looking forward to a time, I mean it's a start, but I'm looking forward to a time where parties will be able to create equal opportunities for women and men and disabled people, because it is not the fact of gender or their status or their condition that limits their capacity to be able to perform. If somebody is able to perform irrespective, after all, in the time, I think it was Abraham Lincoln or was it Theodore Roosevelt, there was one of the American presidents who was disabled. A lot of people don't remember that he was disabled. All they remember is that he was president. It didn't impede on his ability to be able to deliver as the president of the United States. So if somebody is coming from a perspective where you're saying, okay, let us reduce this because they are women, because they are disabled, then it's very insulting. It's better that you come from the point that says, oh, this money's it's too much. Like Jennifer rightly said, where are you going to get 100 million from? As a worker, is as a civil servant or as a what? How are you going to get that money?
That is trying to perform their civic duties.
Exactly. So when you look at it and you say, this money cannot, it's not feasible. Can we do something that any Nigerian who is hardworking enough, who has what it takes, and who has the backing of his people or his citizens? After all, in several countries, they actually get people to donate. So your 1,000 naira or your 500,000 naira can be feasible enough to get me what I need to be able to get the ticket. Then I would say that we are making headway. But we'll love to hear from dear Honorable in the House, because I'm sure she has a lot to say.
It's very interesting. I deliberately did want to
start off,
because I wanted to hear my lady's thoughts. And in defense to my party, as a politician, I want to say that for every effort, there's always going to be people that attack it and those that support it. When I saw the price, just like, wow, I
relief
for joy.
You were relieved.
This is the best time to be a woman. But later on, that day, because I saw it on the National Women Leaders Platform, Better Edu. A very good kudos to her for that initiative. You know, it's interesting when she took that initiative, Daya Israel also took the initiative to rise for youth reduction in form. And really, I want to say that in all fairness, because for me, I'm very optimistic than I'm pessimistic. And I like to see the good in everybody's deed. Then I do see the negativity. But it doesn't mean that there are no drawbacks to this. I want to say well done to APC. I want to say well done to the party for considering women and giving us a chance. Because what I see is they want to make it easier for women entry. Do you understand that a lot of women are probably dependent on their spouses and they have lower sources of income, and as such they decide to reduce the bar so that more women can have access to buy their form and be able to participate. For me, what I want to address is the cost of form in the first place is quite high. I mean, for every Nigerian who just wants to serve, if we're really committed to service in the real sense, without a motive or an agenda to go and amass wealth, why should we raise the bar that high? For me, that's where it starts. But that's not the conversation for today. The conversation is, as the price, reducing the price for women, has it favored us in any way or has it not? And I have had to receive the backlash. And that was why I said, we need to have this conversation on the show. As though, even though we are allowed to pay for expression of interest and we get the form for free, it is convenient without a doubt. I mean, come on. The 9 million naira that I could have paid for form has gone into campaign and trying to get more support for my
Absolutely.
One thing people do not understand is the fact that I'm not paying for form does not mean I'm not spending that money. I'm still having
other things that you're
I'm still having to spend the money on a lot of things that are not even we can get receipt for. You're going to do consultation, you're going to have meet people. The campaigning is expensive in Nigeria. You dare not go near politics. What I know today, if I knew it 8-9 months ago when I started, I probably would not have started. But I'm glad that I didn't know, and I only found out along the way. And it was too late for me to say, hey, I'm not doing it again. So now we do what? We stay in this thing and we run it through. So for me, I've had people say that. We sat in a meeting, for example, they were trying to streamline us down and say, okay, there's too many of you coming out. Why don't you both, all aspirants, agree and step down for one another? And they say, you step down after you paid 1 million. I said, That's the backlash. Those are some of the drawbacks. I say, excuse me, I am happy to pay 10 million naira. They said, really? I said, yes. I would have paid 10 million naira if that is the price of fee and there was no concessor or no reduction for women, because you now think that because I paid 1 million naira, I have no rights. I don't have the same strength backing to come to the table and negotiate for my inclusion in governance. And for me, I start to wonder, that means we would become weaker and it reduces our negotiating power when they think that we have paid a token on a fraction of what men pay. So therefore, you can't complain if you do not emerge. I see it as a decoy to just give us a chance, but not in the real sense, give us a fair, level playing field. And that's what we are clamoring for. For me, it's about, we are grateful for the chance, but then if it's going to impede on our chances to agitate actively and really throw our weights on the field, then we can just keep the fee exactly the way and let us pay the full price so that we can have equal rights to compete toe-to-toe with men. So no man can come and challenge my right to say, oh, you pay 1 million naira, what do you know about? I mean, I pay 10 million naira. That is not fair in the real sense, because people are beginning to attack the fact that we paid less than the men, and that doesn't give us a chance to adequately compete with men. For me, that's